coming to our meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. Would you please rise for a moment of silent prayer, followed by the pledge of allegiance to our nation's flag. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amy, public comment?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The public comment portion of our meeting provides residents and taxpayers in Butler County a reasonable opportunity to comment on matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which are or may be before the board prior to taking official action. Presentations must be limited to 3 minutes. The chairman has asked me to remind everyone that no personal attacks on the character or reputation of county employees, department heads, or any official will be tolerated. Any speaker doing so may be ruled out of order by the chair. I'll call the names in the order that they appear on the sign-up sheet, and when you come to the podium, please state your name and your municipality of residence. James Eckstein.
James Eckstein, Butler Township. I'd like to comment on a quote made in the Butler Eagle on May 8th. It was a front page article and the title was, "What do commissioners get paid?" The reporter's question was about the commissioner's pension. McCarrier said the pension is part of the employee contract. His quote, "I think to decline a pension is foolish." He said the county's pension fund is healthy. Spoken as only a true politician would. I didn't take a pension or county health care because I wanted to save the taxpayers $100,000 over my 4 years term in office. Is that foolish? Mr. McCarrier thinks so. Commissioners are not really county employees. Elected officials are the only ones by state law allowed to opt out of the pension plan. I'm very tired of this entitlement mentality of our elected officials statewide. They keep telling us they're here to serve us, but what the facts bear out is they're more about self-service. Dale Pinkerton will receive approximately $16,000 a year pension for serving only 8 years in office. Most Americans pay all their life to have Social Security and don't receive that much. McCarrier received a pension for only serving 4 years in office 12 years ago. Who in the private sector receives that? No one, but politicians would be vested after 4 years in office. He's taking as much as he can get this time too. And you're a fool if you don't. Really, I'm humbled I was chosen to serve this county. Healthcare, McCarrier and Pinkerton were both on Medicare when they took office and paid their supplemental to cover the rest of themselves. What do? When they get elected, they both drop their Medicare, and the county taxpayers pick up a total of $17,000 each per year. Really, $60,000 for their 4-year term for each commissioner. Bill McCarrier's version, you're foolish if you don't. We're all entitled to it, even if it means we have to cut the senior centers back to get what we're entitled to. We're entitled. I'm sick and tired of this entitlement mentality by elected officials in our counties and throughout the state. I disagree with McCarrier on this idea and that you are foolish if you don't take as much as you can get. I guess I'm just committed another cardinal sin. I disagree with Mr. McCarrier in public. I guess the public will decide what happens next. Thank you.
Jim, why don't you tell the whole truth? You don't take health insurance because your wife has health insurance, which is partially paid by taxpayers, working at the University of Pittsburgh. You get $200 a month for not taking health insurance. You don't have to pay 1.5% of your salary. So in other words, you get insurance cheaper than Dale and I do. Dale, Jim, I'm constantly amazed by the number of people that you find fault with. In the 3.5 years or so that we've been here, you have found fault at every meeting with Dale and I. You have found fault with Beth Harold recently, with Michelle Green, with Rich Goldinger, with Joyce Ainsworth, with Diane Marburger, with Judy Mosier, with Charlie Johns, with Judge Stewart and all the other judges, and the list goes on and on and on. It's a wonder we have such a good county with all these people that you find to be incompetent or find fault with. But then, maybe the fault isn't with these people. When someone finds fault constantly with everyone else, maybe the fault lies with themselves. Maybe you need to look at yourself, and maybe that's where the fault lies. Thank you.
And by the way, half of my pension I've paid. I've paid 10% into that pension, so you can take that and cut it in half as to what I'm going to get as a pension.
Next.
Peggy Eversole.
I'm not allowed to speak. I'd like to say.
No, you're not.
You ruled that
You're
I'm not
not.
allowed to speak, so I can't rebut you.
Jim.
You know, that's not fair,
Jim.
that you two ruled the decision.
Jim.
I disagree with your decision, Bill, that you,
Jim,
in your entitlement
we-
mentality.
We have a public policy for public speaking.
Yeah, you made the policy,
I didn't
okay?
make it.
You made the policy to
Peggy,
limit
go ahead.
the seniors.
Hi, Eversole, Peggy Eversole, Middlesex Township. Senior centers are in the 2015 Area on Aging budget in the amount of $720,000. The U.S. Administration on Aging, through its newly created Administration for Community Living, set forth their focus in their 2013 to 2018 strategic plan mission statement. Maximize the independence, well-being, and health of older adults, people with disabilities, and their families and caregivers. Even the name says it all, community living. Pennsylvania Department of Aging's mission is dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for older Pennsylvanians by empowering diverse communities, the family and the individual. The key words are empowering diverse communities. The main objective of the state and federal plans is to work with the seniors as they fully engage and participate in their communities, make informed decisions, and exercise self-determination and control about their independence, well-being, and health. The goal and objectives are clear. Seniors and senior centers are to remain in their own local communities. While reading numerous senior letters, speaking with many seniors, and listening to them speak at meetings, I have heard their voice. Their informed decision is loud and clear. Their voice mirrors the state and federal objectives and strategic plans. They want their local senior centers in their local diverse communities. Why not listen to them? More importantly, why not adhere to the federal and state objectives and their mission statements? I have a brief announcement. On April 22nd, 2015, the Board of Commissioners issued a proclamation for Hope for Broken Hearts, which helps families who have been affected and impacted a loved one afflicted with addiction. The proclamation was for Drug Awareness Month. The organization is available to those in need to share hope and encouragement and assist with support. In order to bring attention to the increasing use of drugs in Butler County as well as the country, you are invited to the Walk of Hope, which is this Saturday, May 16th. Registration begins at 9 at the starting point, which is Westminster Presbyterian Church. Hope you come out and support a very worthy cause and try to fight drug overdose.
Amy?
I'd like to say this to that. I appreciate Peggy saying about senior centers today. You know, look, no matter what the other two commissioners said, I saved $100,000 on pension and health care for this county. I don't care what they say or what they make up about that. If you take it times 3, it's $300,000. If you divide that by 4, it's $75,000 a year. That's what they're cutting back from the senior center that's what their cutback is. If all 3 commissioners would have done what I did, they said they can't afford not to take a pension. It's garbage. What they're trying to cut back from seniors is $75,000 a year. If all of us would have done what I did, we wouldn't have the cutbacks. Is that a bad thing? I'll let the public decide. Bill and Dale think it's all about entitlement. It's about them. And, you know, it's foolish if you don't take as much as you can get. He won't let me speak after, you know, they've set up so I can't speak. Okay, let the public decide. Dale laughs all the time. He laughed about when I got up and spoke. He was there laughing at me. okay?
Jim, let's stay on
You
track
know,
here.
we
Let's-
are,
you're
so
replying-
you're telling me I'm
You are replying to Peggy.
Yeah.
You are
He
not
was-
talking about.
He was laughing right
You're
now
not
when I'm
talking
speaking.
about our pensions.
How
That
about
has
he was
nothing to do
laughing
with it.
now?
You know
Why are
what?
you interrupting me?
I-
Do I have the floor, Bill?
No,
or
you
does
do
Dale?
not. You're out
Okay,
of
so now
order.
you're giving it to Dale.
I'm not giving it to anybody. I'm saying, if you want to address and rebut Peggy or talk about what she said, that's fine. But you're coming back on the things that are not pertaining to what she said.
So I'm out of order.
You are.
Because you make that judgment, right?
That's right, that's
The
the chairman's
public
job.
says, yeah, well, you've done a peach of a job over
Thank
the
you,
last
Jim.
3.5 years.
I would like to say one thing. The only people that have talked about closing the senior centers are Jim Eckstein and Peggy Ebersol. They are the only people that have gone out. There has not been a decision made on that. It's all in the talking stages. And Jim Eckstein, when they were gonna close, when we sold Sunnyview, he went up there and told the older people that they were gonna be thrown out on the street and that the food would be terrible. And he used the senior citizens then, and he's using the senior citizens now. Beth Harold has done a fantastic job and will continue to work for the senior citizens of this community. He is using it as a weapon against the senior citizens, really. He wants your vote, is all this is about. Thank you.
Okay, Amy?
Kathy Cloak.
I just want to let you know that I'm still here for the seniors. I'm from Butler Township, and I ran into a gentleman in church in his 90s who had recently lost his wife a couple years ago. And he told me that he didn't know what he was going to do in Chicora because that was the only meal he got each day. He says, I can't cook. He looked a little rough, like he was having trouble taking care of himself a little bit. But, you know, it's people like that that I am very, very concerned about. And Chicora is such a wonderful center up there. To cut them back 2 days, how much money are you actually saving for 2 days? It's people like this, that gentleman, that I really have a deep concern about. And I'm not against Beth Harold or anybody else. I'm just for the seniors and what's best for them. And I think that the senior centers should be left the way that they are and let the people come to it. And we are increasing our numbers. If you look at the numbers, we are increasing them. Perhaps Jim has brought this to the foresight of the newspapers and everything, but it has brought people out to the senior centers. We're getting more numbers. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's all for public comment, sir.
Okay. Moving on, we have minutes from April 20th and April 22nd. Is there a motion to approve those minutes as printed? So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Proclamations.
Sir, we have a proclamation this week. This proclamation is for National Safe Boating Week, May 16th through 22nd, 2015. Recreational boating is fun and enjoyable, and we are fortunate to live in a county which provides sufficient resources to accommodate a wide variety of pleasure boating demands. However, our waterways can become overcrowded at times and be a place of chaos and confusion when residents and guests do not adhere to safe boating and navigation rules. Knowledge and skills are important in reducing human error and improving judgment. That is why we must continue to advocate the message of boating safety not only during National Safe Boating Week, but also throughout the entire year. Whereas on average, 700 people die each year in boating-related accidents in the United States, and approximately 70% of these are fatalities caused by drowning. And whereas the vast majority of these accidents are caused by human error or poor judgment and not by the boat, equipment, or environmental factors. And whereas a significant number of boaters who lose their lives by drowning each year would be alive today had they worn their life jackets. And whereas Butler County hosts thousands of boating public at Lake Arthur and other county waterways. Now therefore, we, the Butler County Board of Commissioners, do hereby support the goals of the United States Coast Guard, Coast Guard Auxiliary, and the North American Safe Boating Campaign, and proclaim May 16th through the 22nd, 2015, as National Safe Boating Week and the start of the year-round effort to promote safe boating. And here to accept the proclamation from the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary is Renee.
Good morning, and thank you so much for what you do to promote safe boating. We're very pleased to present you with this proclamation.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank you, gentlemen.
And if you would like to go to the podium and say any words, you are welcome to do so.
Just a few brief words. I'd like to thank the commissioners for taking the time and the efforts to do this every year, and the staff, especially Amy Wilson and Kim. I know it takes some time. Just want to let you know we are on the Facebook, and we have a monthly newsletter now, and of course we support the boating efforts at Lake Arthur. The important thing is, if you're a boater, take the safe boating course either from us or the Pennsylvania Department of Natural Resources, and also the other guys out there. And wear your life jacket whenever you're near the water or on the water. And you may see people wearing your life jacket. On Friday, it's National Wear Your Life Jacket to Work Day. So, wear your life jacket, John.
Would you mind telling the public how they can go about taking this course if they want to take the safe boating course?
I would suggest getting on the internet and see where the courses are available. There's 3 flotillas in the Pittsburgh area. Ours in Butler, there's a large one in Pittsburgh, and also one in McKeesport. And we all offer safe boating courses throughout the year. And also Pennsylvania Department of the Game Commission, Fish Commission, they have their own courses. They are also on, I would start with the computer, find out where the courses are and when they are. They are published in the Butler Eagle when we just had one in April.
In Butler County? Is the course offered in Butler County?
Yeah, we did it at the Butler Airport, and unfortunately it wasn't attended very well. But it's, people don't think about boating in April, they think about boating in July and August, so it's out there if you pursue it. The courses are there, and the important thing is, of course, to wear the life jacket. They are more comfortable than ever. And you can wear a suspender style that doesn't get in your way if you're fishing or boating at all. It is a little pricey, but you pay all that money for an expensive boat. A couple $100 for a life jacket can save your life.
Thank you very much.
Sir, I have a question for you.
Yes.
For DUI on driving is .08 is the limit. On boating, what is it? Like if they pick you up and they think you're intoxicated, what's the blood alcohol level at boating?
It's also .08. We, as the Coast Guard Auxiliary, we do everything the Coast Guard does except law enforcement and military action. We have no authority to stop an intoxicated boater. All we can do is refer it to either the regular Coast Guard or the DNR, and try to get a Fish Commission warden out there to police the matter.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
No old business today. Under new business, the first item is court administration. Tom Holman.
Morning, gentlemen.
Hi, Tom.
I have 3 quick things for you this morning. First, I'm seeking your approval for the contract with Staunton Farms Foundation for the provision of $125,000 so that we can begin to implement mental health court. We're asking for permission also for the chairman and the chief clerk to sign that document.
Is there a motion to that
I'll make
effect?
that motion.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries.
Tom, I'd like to say this about that. I really applaud the court system for taking, we didn't get the grant, so the public knows this. They didn't give up after time, just once. They've tried multiple times on this from different agencies. I really appreciate what you've done. on that, and it's, most everybody here knows it's really important to me. I was on the mental health board, but I feel that this is just a huge deal. Huge, we can't be housing the mentally ill with the shutdown of the state institutions. We owe it more to our community than to have the mentally ill not have a way out. Just like with the drug court and the veterans court. So I really applaud this. It really makes me happy, Tom. Thank you very much.
And we're also very pleased with the interagency cooperations, particularly with Amy Peters in the mental health division here, and then the amount of work that she's putting in this to work with us to try and make this happen. This is set to start officially June 1st. We'll probably see the first court appearances mid-July.
Okay.
So that's coming up.
Thank you, Tom.
My second thing is I'm seeking approval for an MOU with Sarah Kuhn and Rebecca Reidner, so for them to help with the provision of technical assistance in the creation of a 3-year prison reintegration strategic plan. That grant is in the amount of $9,637. I'm seeking your approval.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And finally, we're seeking permission to apply for $1,500 PCCD grant to enhance the reentry program at the prison. This is something that has come up relatively quickly. We're trying to jump on it just as quickly. This will be for the purpose of creating a video for the reentry program that can be used over and over and over again as people pass through the system. Asking for your permission to make that application.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Tom.
Next, under facilities and operations, Tom Henry.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning, John.
Morning.
Today I'll be asking for a new agreement with Arm Energy Management for natural gas pricing for the county facilities. I did get a better price than what we did have on the agenda. What I'm after, we are currently now paying $3.85 or $3.86, 5.6 cents per NFC through December of 2015. I went back to the supplier and I asked him if he couldn't do better. They're going to blend our current contract in and lower it down to $3.28 per CML from June 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2017. This would save us $6,600 this year, and it would be an annual savings of $15,600 for 16 and 17 also.
John, that's wonderful. You keep getting a better price every time you get back. If we would table this, you think you'd get back a couple more times.
I'm sure I won't get beat down.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Again, thanks, John. You've done a great job in that.
Not a problem. Permission to be excused.
Does anybody have any questions for John from the press?
No.
Okay, you're excused, John. Thank you.
Next, under human services, Ann Brown.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
First two items I have are regarding our House Choices program. The first is asking for ratification of a contract between the county and the Department of Human Services. This is to allow the changes reflecting the Medicaid expansion. The major component of the contract covers the newly eligible groups, and the contract is due to the department on May 8th. So I'm asking for your ratification of this contract.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And the second is a ratification of the contract between Butler County and the Southwest Behavioral Management Incorporated. This is amending the administrative services agreement to allow for the establishment of regional reinvestment plans. Ask for approval of that contract.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, I have several contract amendments for the fiscal year 14-15. They're with the Alliance for Nonprofit Resources, Victim Outreach Intervention Center, Leyland Lutheran Services, Irene Stacy Community Mental Health Center, Butler Memorial Hospital, Mental Health Association, Butler County, and Community Care Connection. Ask for approval of the contract amendments.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Can we do this as one motion, Mike?
Certainly.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon.
And you also have contract amendments?
That's what I just did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Next is Parks and Recreation, Gary Pinkerton. I was expecting that to be a lot longer presentation.
Morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, Gary.
I'm here this morning to request a change order with specialty pools in regard to the renovation / development of Alameda Pool in the amount of $16,318. The change order is needed due to the fact that we were unable to reach a pipe with a certain connection on it and had to remove additional concrete, additional excavation work. And due to the fact that we're doing that, we're just going to go and replace the pipe all the way back into the filtration. It was one of the areas that we suspected that there may have been a possible leak that has been occurring within the pool for a number of years.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that, but I'd like to say with Gary, told us about this the other day. We really believe that it was leaking before. If you can expound, basically it was leaking before, so in the long run, we'll save money by doing it right now.
Right.
Making sure it's done. Go ahead, Gary, can you expound?
Yeah, very honestly, Commissioner, where the connection was, before we did the renovation, we didn't have any water entering into the filter room through what we refer to as the motor pit. And right after the renovation, a few years after that, we started to get groundwater coming into the motor pit, and it also required us to install a sub pump.
Yeah, the last renovation you're talking about, right? Yeah.
Correct, the last renovation. And so we feel that that water could be coming from this connection. And again, like I said, we had hoped to be able to just get to the connection by cutting the concrete, reaching down right outside the wall. But it turned out the connection was farther underneath the concrete pad. And actually, in reality, was under the heater pad. So that had to be removed to be able to get to that connection. And again, to assure that that problem doesn't exist in the future at that location, we're just going to run a new piece of, and again, it's a 16-inch line, all the way back into the filter pit and make the connection inside the building and connect to the new piping that's outside the building.
Okay, thanks for explaining that.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You have a motion in a second.
Oh, didn't we vote on that? I'm sorry.
No, sir, not
I'm
yet.
sorry. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, under planning, the CDBG program, Wendy Leslie.
Good morning, Wendy.
At the last public meeting on April 22nd, I gave a report on a bid opening for Jefferson Township's Lower Durr Park project. We had received 3 bids. The lowest bid was from McElroy Paving of Ingomar, PA, and it was broken down into 3 parts. Part A, which was the CDBG part, was $103,710.90. Part B, which was the DCNR part of the bid, was $116,549.64. And then there was an ad bill for $17,390, and that was for additional handicap parking in the park. So it came to a total bid of $237,650.54. The Part A, which is the CDBG part, was short on activity funds for Jefferson Township, and they have voted to revise enough administrative funds from their 2011, 12, and 13 administrative funds totaling $27,658.90 to complete Part A and also the $17,390 additional handicap parking spots in the park. Part B was the DCNR part. It was short a total of $20,749.64 after a line item of an $800 sign was taken out of the bid. Now, the Jefferson Township supervisors have voted to cover the $20,749.64 shortfall from their own funding in order to get the project finished as bid. So therefore, 2 parts, I'm asking your approval to award McElroy Paving of Ingomar for a total of $236,850.54 And of course, $20,749.65 is Jefferson Township's responsibility. And in the second part also would be to do the revision of funds on Jefferson Township's administrative funds for the $27,650.90. And there's no county dollars involved, so we're asking for your approval.
Is there a motion to
I'll
approve?
make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, and I have a question.
Okay.
Is that park owned by the township?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a public park.
By, some of them aren't owned by the township, but
Yeah,
in
it
this
is.
case it is. Okay,
Yes, it is.
super.
Mhm.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy.
Commissioners, just to clarify, so you've taken both of those items as one vote.
Yes.
Very good.
Is that all right, Mike?
Yep.
They're all in reference to Jefferson Township.
Thank you. Under Commissioners, our first item is we're seeking your ratification of the approved allocations of Act 13 impact fee funds received in 2014 for the 2013 distribution year. We ask your approval.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? I will second it.
I'd like to have discussion on this. Let me make this clear on this. This ratification of these impact fees, we gave to a nonprofit. This got pulled through. I wanted to have a public meeting on this so that people could see where this money was going. This is over $500,000. $500,000 was done behind closed doors. They're not telling you where this money's going. Let me tell you where one of it's going. One of it, they approved $60,000 2 years in a row to go to a nonprofit. I asked Joyce Ainsworth the other day when I saw her, initially it was going to go to the United Way, $60,000 a year going to the United Way. They approved it for the second year. Wait till you hear this, it really gets good. They don't have any program. We're approving money year after year. When they approved the $60,000 the first year, the idea was that they'd tell us how it was going. This is a very common, Tom Holman just came up before you earlier in the Staunton Farms grant, prerequisite to getting that grant the following year, another $120,000 is showing that it works. In this county, here's what we did behind closed doors. This is going to some nonprofit. Originally, it was going to go to the United Way, so we're taking impact fee money, giving it to United Way. Now, we can argue about whether it's going to CCR, United Way, or whoever administers it. But let's admit, it's gone, they're going to pass this, and nothing's ever been done. Nothing's been done at all. We don't know if it works or doesn't work. So 2 years in a row, I says, well, show me that it worked. Well, it can't work because nothing's ever been done. If you're a buddy of the other two commissioners or a friend, they just keep approving the money. And let me make this clear to the public. The money is approved. They're approving it now. Unless we unapprove it, the next Board of Commissioners, they just gave the money to them. They're just delayed, okay? So I think this is unconscionable. These expenditures were already put into the budget. We're actually floating the money twice on this $500,000. I'm against it. I want to use it to pay down debt. I think we should use it to pay down debt on the 2006 bond, okay? And this is what we're approving in public. They said, we're making it public, and here's what it says. Ratification of the approval for allocations of the Act 13 impact fee funds received in 2014. You don't know what the money's going for. It's $500,000. They're blowing smoke. They don't want you to know. And we didn't do it in public. This is the public right now. $500,000 right here.
Why don't you tell the truth once in a while, Jim? We approved this money to go to the 911 center update, which we're going to have to make. This is what we decided, and this money is, that's what we're voting on today. The majority of this money is going to fund the new radio systems that we're going to have to buy, which could cost the county as much as $10 million. You say, why don't we put it to the 2006 bond? Because that's illegal. The impact fee money is not allowed to be used to spend or to pay off debt. That's right in the Act 13. If we use this money to upgrade the radios, which if they cost $10 million and we use this money for this to reduce it down below $10 million, we could use bank funding, which would reduce the cost of it very greatly. If we use bank funding over a bond issue, it would cut that funding. Our 2006 bond, which is coming up for call in 2016, it should be about $6 million. We put aside $3.9 million from the bond refinancing, which you were against, to pay that off. If we keep that below $10 million again, we can borrow money for the other $2 million, or the next board can, to pay that off, and save refunding a bond, reissuing a bond. So the way we're doing this is to save the county money. Those in favor of the motion?
I'd like to say this is a
Go ahead.
rebuttal to that.
Okay.
I wasn't against bond refinancing. I wanted to go back on the principle of capital loan payments. You wanted to put it, what you did was, look, if you refinance your house, you may reduce the payments and put it on the principal right then.
Right.
What the county commissioners have done is they refinanced a prison, took a $4 million lump sum. We have a $4 million account, hardly making a thing, an account, and it didn't go right on the debt. Now, who would do that? Nobody would do that, okay? Only these guys did that. I was for rebonding the prison. See, they're laughing at me again. You know, I mean, who would do that? Nobody would do that. I was against not putting the money. A similarity with this, do you even look like if you refinanced your car and put the money in the account to buy a trailer, a recreational trailer, or a boat? I mean, we should have taken that money. This was a no-brainer, and that's how this stuff gets convoluted. I certainly was for refinancing and getting a better rate on the prison. That's just not true at all. And you didn't even talk about, look, we're not talking about the 1,000. The impact fee was $1.5 million. I'm not worried about the $1 million going to the new radio system. I'm worried about the $500,000. The $500,000 was put in the cookie jar. You know, it was already budgeted for. We already had the money in the budget for this $500,000. Now we're putting another $500,000 in the general fund to cover this. That means you can use it for give new employees, give raises. How do the public think they do this stuff? They inject money into the general fund, and that's what I'm against. Okay, I want to make this clear. I was talking about the $500,000, not his, there's $1.5 million. I was worried about the $500,000. We already was budgeted. The controller verified that. He will verify it again because it is the truth. And you're putting it in the budget 2 times, okay? That's, the controller is not lying, okay? They can, he was interviewed in the Butler Eagle. Thank you very much.
Can I say something? The $60,000, we went from $60,000 one year and $60,000 the next year, which is $120,000, for a program that's going to have to do with housing of people who do not have housing. Now, the program has not been written yet. They're working on it. Joyce Ainsworth just took over that department not too long ago, and she's getting on her feet. That $120,000 has not been spent. And it won't be until the program gets approved and it goes forward. The other thing is that we're going to repay a bond next year with that $3.5 million. That's at 5.5%, and we're going to pay that bill other than about $1.5 million of it, which we can go to the bank and borrow. If we could borrow it at the money we just borrowed at 1.5%. So Jim can say what he wants about putting it back in. We're going to save the county about 4.5% or 4% on that $6 million bond by holding off for about 8 or 9 months. So it's easy for him to sit here and say, you're best spending money the way you are, but that money has never left. And until we have a direct program, it will not leave the general fund. And the other problem is, the other thing that we spent the money on was the water, the pond, the redoing of the Glade Run. Glade Run. And that was Jim's program, to give that money to the Glade Run. And that came out of that fund also. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
I was opposed to that.
Okay.
And by the way, that was Legacy Fund Dale, the Glade Run Lake, not impact fees. That was impact fees we're discussing, not legacy. Okay? That came from Legacy.
Next item, Amy.
We're asking your acceptance of the arbitrator's award in the Butler County Detectives Association Act 111 interest arbitration.
Is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
A couple comments in this. This is a union arbitration. It went to arbitration. We had no choice. We have to do what the arbitrator says, and that's what we're voting on here. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
And I'd like to say this, I agree with Bill on that. You know, this was very disappointing to us, you know, but our hands are tied. We thoroughly, all the commissioners, talked to the Mike English about this, and I agree with Bill on this. Our hands were tied. You know, when you do this, you know, certain the prison, the detectives, adult probation, by law, they go into a binding arbitration because they're not allowed to strike. So I think we did the best we could on this, but, you know, it's out of our hands.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We're asking your approval to renew a policy with Travelers for the county's fiduciary liability insurance in the amount of $25,070 with authorization for the chairman to sign, pending recommendation from the retirement board, which we have received. We ask your approval.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
That's all for new business.
Is there a motion to approve the budgetary transfers?
I'll second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the new hires?
I'll make that motion.
I'm sorry, go ahead, I'll second it.
Okay.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the travel requests?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the requisitions?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the check register?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. The motion carries. Conference time with the media. Kayla.
Thanks, Commissioner. Question for Commissioner Eckstein. When talking about the impact fee funds, Commissioner McCarrier said it's illegal to use that money to pay down debt. You were shaking your head. Do you not think what he's saying is true?
I'll have to look it up. There's 13 ways we can do that. I'm like 90% sure that we can use it to reduce that, okay?
Would you?
I'm not positive. I'm not positive about that, but there's 13 different ways we can use it. Maybe I'm thinking about reducing taxes.
Kayla, would
Okay.
that ask the solicitor then?
Solicitor, can you give me some information?
That's not one of the things you can do with the money.
So it was reducing taxes, not
There-
reducing debt.
Reducing taxes is one of the things, but not debt.
Okay, okay, it's reducing taxes, not debt. But look, there's, I don't know. You know, obviously, I'll look into it more, but I think we should pay off the debt. You know, it'll really, if there's $900,000 payment on that debt, okay, $900,000, it was a wraparound loan. I didn't do the wraparound loan. You could say, why is the payment so high? Because they pay as little as possible. The former commissioners paid as little as possible, and then they pay what you almost call a balloon payment at the end. You know, so look, I'm not infallible. If we can't use that money for that, you know, I apologize for that. But we have to pay down the debt, okay? Then you'll have $900,000 per year in the budget to control raises in health care, raises in employee salaries. It's critical, okay?
Okay, thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Pinkerton, just a quick question for you. I know that earlier you stated that nothing's been set in stone concerning the senior centers, but has there been any decision on when it will happen, any timeline?
No, there is not at the present time, as far as I know. It hasn't even all been put together yet. Beth is working on a program, and I don't know that anything is set in stone yet. And until such time as she does, everything that's being discussed is just blown out of proportion.
Thank you, Commissioner, that's all.
Can
Would you
I
like to
please
say
say
something?
something to that? You know, I think it is very, I'm gonna say this, I think it's very demeaning to senior citizens. This statement is made many times, okay? I find it very demeaning to think that I'm telling them what to do. That has never happened. They're calling me, they came up to me first. I am only helping them as a facilitator and doing what we all think's best for them. I could make it clear, I do not drive the initiative to belittle senior citizens and degrade them by saying that they're not making the decisions. That's how we got into this mess in the first place. Beth Harold and the people up there are making the decision and not letting the seniors make the decision. It's coming from the wrong area. The seniors ought to make the decisions and for what's best with the senior centers. That's what they do in Armstrong County. That's what Rich Fink, the county commissioner from Armstrong County, told me. The seniors make the decision. The whole thing's backwards. Beth Harold and the administration's making the decision. It's wrong, and it's wrong. Okay?
When the seniors call you and express their concerns, do you tell them that nothing's been set in stone, or do you lead them to believe certain things have been set in stone?
I don't believe that at all.
What
One
part?
of my contacts in Shakora called me up and said they're going to 3 days a week. Now that contact, Joe Ferrone, I'll give you his phone number, Kayla, I'll be glad to give you his phone number. Either Joe Ferrone's a liar, okay, his wife goes there, he says they're going back 3 days a week. And the administrator, Pam, I believe, from Nutrisystems, she told them that. And they either like it or they can shut down the center altogether. Now, why did he come and tell me that on the phone? Either this senior citizen called me up and made contact, okay? Either he's lying. Why would he do that? Why would Joe Ferrone do that? Why would the other people there do that? Okay, I say it's not true. I've been to 2 senior citizens meetings where Area on Aging Board, they haven't discussed it at all. The board has not discussed what to do with the senior centers in public. The only one that talked was Beth Harold. What's a board doing? Why have a board if they don't talk about it? Okay? So for them to say this, they come and just hit down the gavel and say they're closed, and we're just supposed to sit around. Look, I know I'm repeating myself. The seniors I'm taking my marching orders from them. I care and I'm trying to help them facilitate their needs. These guys are trying to say it's backwards. It's insulting to them. It's like once you become 65, you can't think for yourself. That's belittling them, okay? It's not true. It's just not true.
Thank you, Commissioners, that's all.
Kim? No, this is a press conference. Kim?
I'm okay, I'll reserve the right to call now. Thank you.
Is there a
Oh,
motion?
nothing right now.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? I'll second. Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Kathy, maybe you can talk to Kayla, they're real user-friendly. Yeah. Tell her, you know.
She'll tell you the truth right there.